All right, good afternoon. We're going to continue with our media availabilities here at Kansas Speedway. And we've now been joined by William Byron, driver of the number 24 Liberty University Chevrolet. And William, Kansas is a special place to you. It was home of your first NASCAR Camp World Truck Series win back in 2016. Talk a little bit about what you like about this track and how you plan to approach tomorrow night's race.
Yeah, this place is always special to me. I kind of remember going through what I did in the truck series, and really up to that point I hadn't really run for a win. It was my 5th truck start, and just was really excited to come here and felt like we were going to have a good day. And then the truck drove well in practice, and then I just remember racing with Crafton for the lead for 30 or 40 laps, and then passing him and having Kyle Busch kind of coach me through that. And some of the things that we talked about there was really cool. So just was a special night. I was still in high school and still trying to figure out if I was going to race for a living, and see if that made sense for me or if I could do it, had the talent to. And that was my big breakthrough to have that. So was a lot of fun, and definitely hold this place kind of a special place in my heart.
Well, we're glad that you decided to stick around and stay with us for a while. So we'll go ahead and take questions for William. If you have one, please state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Where do you think you're at in terms of your feedback right now and understanding what you need out of the car? Like, is it a slow process? Have you made a lot of gains since the start of the season? Do you feel like you still have a long way to go? Where are you at?
You know, I think I'm pretty close. I feel like I'm running close to where my teammates are, and that's always really your reference point for how you're performing. I feel like I'm right in the middle of them sometimes. I feel like Richmond, we're probably the best of our cars, and I was really excited about that. That's probably been the only race that's been the case, but overall I think that I'm able to run with them, and if I can do that and continue that progression, once we do get the speed that we need, we'll all be that much better. So I think that's my biggest reference point, and I feel like Atlanta and some of the races that if we missed it a little bit, it was a big miss for me. Now, if we miss it, feel like we missed it a little bit last week, it's top 15, and it's still competitive. So I think the misses are a lot better, and then the makes are top 5, hopefully, like Richmond, if we could just finish that off.
All right, we'll go to Reed and then Chris.
Reed Spencer, NASCAR Wire Service. As a corollary to Jeff's question, how do you feel in terms of where you are now versus where you are, say, in those first few races?
Yeah, the first few races are a big shock for anyone that I feel like is coming in the Cup Series. If you're, it was a relatively new team for us, so we were all trying to figure each other out. You have one test session that is so different from the racetrack, and the Cup Series is so competitive, so tight. How I describe it is, in the other series, you have 1 or 2 cars from each organization that are going to be competitive, and then here you have 4. So if you have 4 of those guys, then you're going to be that much below that if you miss it. So it's just exponentially that much harder. But I feel like when you do have good days, that shows just like it would in any other series. So I think that I'm learning that process. The beginning of the year was a big shock, especially Atlanta and some of those places. But now we're just getting a lot closer, and that's allowing us to run closer to the top 15. I feel like the worst finishes for us have been the super speedways. So we've lost a lot of points there, but I think we're 17th in points, and that's solid. So hopefully we can get in the top 16 here soon.
Right, go ahead.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. William, as you progress up through the top 3 series, it usually takes about 10 to 12 races, and it just seems like a light switch goes on, and you get it, and your performances are rocketing through. Have you seen that progression throughout the last 3 years, and are you seeing it in Cup? And then what's going to be your biggest challenges as you approach the summer stretch? I got a follow-up.
Yeah, summer's normally been the best kind of results for me. Normally May is a really good month for me, so looking to start that off strong here. Dover was pretty solid. I feel like the May tracks are really indicative of what the rest of the year looks like with the 1.5 miles. Charlotte's it's a racetrack that is very similar to Kentucky and other places. So I feel like the summer's always been the area where we start to hit on what we need in the race car, and I think that's my confidence in the team, and then showing them that I can produce with what I get in the race car. So I think we're starting to get that feel that I want, and it's just kind of around the corner, I guess.
As you get more experience under your belts as a team, looking at performances, or are they looking ahead and trying to get that playoff contention?
I mean, I think for me, I want to run as solid as I can every week to get ourselves in a position to make the playoffs. It's a very difficult thing to do, is make the playoffs, but I think that gives you a lot of purpose for your season. Obviously, rookie season's kind of, you can do whatever you want with it. It's kind of your chance to learn and either show what you can do or just make some maybe rookie mistakes and figure it out. So I think that I've learned from that, and I'm going to take risks, but also try to position myself the best I can for the playoff stretch, because you want to make those last 10 races count, and I feel like our equipment's only going to get better with the new Camaro that we have, and the longer the season goes, I think the better we're going to get.
All right, additional questions for William? Any final questions? All right, we'll take one more from Jeff.
What do you think about Harvick versus Kyle Busch right now? I mean, they seem to be the two fastest every week. Do you think one has the edge over another?
Yeah. From what we see on the team side, I think Kevin has a lot of speed, and especially over the run. I feel like, both of those guys are just really smart in knowing what they need in the race car and knowing how to get that out of their team. And that's where you see their leadership come into play, and that's how you see them be so competitive every week. Obviously, they're very talented in the car, but I think that their leadership outside of the car and describing what they need in the car to be fast, their team just molds themselves around that, and they have a lot of smart people on their team. So I think that Kevin seems to be by far the fastest right now, but Kyle's always very consistent, and that's just how he is.
Any final questions for William? All right, thanks for joining us
guys.
this afternoon.
Thank you.